Joining me now is Patrick Wood. We have plenty of things to talk about, that's for sure. One of the things we obviously have to talk about is this video right here today, folks. Watch this. I'll just take down the music. Look at that. That is literally a robot she's walking out with. And the robot's going to come around to the front of the table and then actually talk to the people. This is not one of Elon's robots, I understand. Right, Logan? Not one of Elon's robots. All right, it's going to walk around the table. Look at that. Negotiating between the wall and the president of France's wife right there. That's Emmanuel Macron's wife. I guess those are probably other world leaders' wives, I'm guessing. I don't know. Well, there it is. Now, is he going to greet everybody?
Thank you, First Lady Melania Trump, for inviting me to the White House. It is an honor to be at Fostering the Future Together's Global Coalition inaugural meeting. I'm Figure 3, a humanoid built in the United States of America. I am grateful to be part of this historic movement to empower children with technology and education. Welcome. Bienvenidos. Yokoso. Bienvenue. Bem-vindos. Ahlan wa sahlan.
Speaking lots of languages there. Wow.
Mogisalmabit. Bruchim aba'im. Laskavo próximo. Dobrodošli.
This went on for 3 hours,
Thank
Logan.
you.
Just kidding. Wow. Someone had told you 1988, 1980, 1970. This would happen. Would you believe it? Look at the thing goes back around the corner. All right, see you later. You know what? That's that famous red carpet. I think that's the East Room, if I remember correctly. That's that famous red carpet. Is somebody going to open the door for it when it gets to the end? That's what I want to see. Is he going to kick the door in like Arnold Schwarzenegger? Come on now. Don't stop. Let's see what this robot does. I want to see it kick the door down and goes through those double doors.
Good morning.
That's the famous red...
Welcome to the White House.
That's the... Whoop, it's going to go off to the side. Look at that. That's that famous red carpet in the East Room. We see a lot of presidents walk down to give speeches. One day, we're likely to see a robot walk down there and dress the American people because they've decided it's better to turn everything over to AI. I'm being somewhat facetious, but the way this is going, who knows? I mean, what did she have to say about all this?
Honor of fostering the future together. It's fair to state you're my first American-made humanoid guest in the White House. But moreover, it is my distinct honor to receive such an impressive group of leaders today. 45 of you have traveled from every corner of the planet to represent your nation as a part of this new coalition.
Wow. You know what's interesting? I don't know. Someone go check. The presidential logo, the seal, the presidential seal. Really interesting how many times they have used the presidential seal when she speaks. I'm not saying I have a problem with it. I just think that's very unique. Normally, historically, the presidential seal is saved for when the president is speaking and doing something. But I've noticed a couple times now in the last few months where she's speaking and she has the presidential seal in front of her, which I find very interesting. I think there's another clip. Yeah, let's see what she had to say about this humanoid robot. Here we go.
Through our cities. Robots hold steady hands in the operating room. And drones are redefining the future of war. Innovations of first-generation humanoids, factory automation, and autonomous vehicles have surged from private sector investment. Every one of these advancements is powered by AI.
Now, this is not the same event, but that is just another example of where we're going. And I think we have another one from today. Here we go.
Our world is transforming, and through the use of AI, we can now access centuries' worth of humanity's knowledge base. The future of AI is personified. It will be formed in the shape of humans. Very soon, artificial intelligence will move from our mobile phones to humanoids that deliver utility. Since our environment is designed for people, humanoid systems are uniquely suited to navigate and operate within our world. They fit well. Imagine a humanoid educator named Plato. Access to the classical studies is now instantaneous. Literature, science, art, philosophy, mathematics, and history. Humanity's entire corpus of information is available in the comfort of your home. Plato will provide a personalized experience, adaptive to the needs of each student. Plato is always patient and always available. Predictably, our children will develop deep critical thinking and independent reasoning abilities. The AI-powered Plato will boost analytics skills and problem solving and adapt in real time to a student's pace, prior knowledge, and even emotional state.
Okay, can I just stop and say that if this wasn't Melania Trump, there would be a lot of conservatives out tonight asking critical questions. Now, I don't know what the First Lady means when she uses these words. I don't know who wrote the speech. I'm guessing that Mrs. Trump doesn't mean anything nefarious. I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt. I don't think she does. But I do know this for a fact, that the educrats, and remember my second book on education, my second book was on education, came out in 1993, Cradle to College and Educational Abduction. Then next one in 95. The one in 95, and by the way, you don't have to buy any of my 19 books. They're available in the vault for you automatically as a member. So don't go buy them. Don't pay, $50 or whatever they go for on Amazon, some of the older ones. You'll get them right there as part of your membership as a PDF at worldviewtube.com/vault. You really should go to the one from 1995, Reclaiming a Nation at Risk, and read the chapter on computers being the information givers. Computers being the information givers. Can you pull that up, Logan, maybe, and show them that I'm not making this up? Because you have a First Lady here sitting here telling you that who is going to be training your child as a humanoid named Plato. And if you go and read my chapter on that in Reclaiming a Nation at Risk, a chapter on computers as the information givers, that's what I'm working in my head is what it was called. I'll see how close I am. I want to say it's chapter 6, but I hope I'm not actually right, because if I am, then I'm going to start thinking I'm on the scale, Logan. That would be a little scary. But I had a chapter all about how the computers will be the teachers. And every child will be given a different assignment based on his area of weakness. Remember Dr. Pierce of Harvard, who said every child who enters school at the age of 5 is mentally ill because he comes to school with an allegiance toward our form of government, our founding fathers. And this is not what I would call the true international child of the future. I wrote about articles from the Star, the Washington Star. Many of you don't even know that paper. It went out of business. My mother had the final publication of the Star. She saved it and gave it to me last year. I have it framed in our control room. The Star. But in that book in 95, I quote one of our bureaucrats in D.C. talking about the schools and computers tracking every child and writing a prescription for every child's areas of weakness. Before I bring Patrick on, listen again to the words. You found it, Logan? Oh, there you go. So now that kind of scares me. I didn't think my memory was that good. Logan accuses me of being on the scale every now and then, don't you, Logan? Well, there you go. Computers, the information givers, and it's chapter 6, like I said. That's kind of scary. I don't know how I knew that, but I did. But anyway, there you go. I did write the book, but it's been a while since I've looked at it. But there you go. Here, now listen to what Melania is saying in that context, please.
Art, philosophy, mathematics, and history. Humanity's entire corpus of information is available in the comfort of your home. Plato will provide a personalized experience, adaptive to the needs of each student.
Okay. Plato will provide custom curriculum, custom training, custom tutoring for the specific needs of each student. Read that book from 1995 by Brandon House, and you'll see that's exactly what I told you was coming. And you don't got to buy it. I'm not trying to sell you anything other than a membership to the Vault for $7.99 a month. So go read that one chapter. Now listen to this. Oh, here comes my coffee and some ice. Ooh, thank you, baby. Here we go.
Plato is always patient and always available. Predictably, our children will develop deep critical thinking. And
can I ask you, who defines critical thinking? Remember, one educrat I have in my book said, critical thinking means not listening to mommy and daddy. Now, I'm not going to put all this onto Mrs. Trump because I'm not saying she's saying that. All I'm saying is I don't know who wrote the speech. I don't know what these words mean to them. But you always got to ask the questions, what do you mean by that? Ask that one question among others. Critical thinking, personalized curriculum to help each individual child. This is what I said was coming because this is what the experts were saying back in the 1960s and 70s.
independent reasoning abilities.
Independent, I'll get that again.
Thinking and independent reason, we develop deep critical thinking and independent reasoning abilities.
Independent reasoning abilities. Independent from what? Well, Dr. Pierce said every child who come to school at the age of 5 is mentally ill because they've been trained by the parents. They need independent reasoning. Now, again, I want to stress, I'm not putting any of this onto Mrs. Trump. All I'm saying is whoever wrote this speech, I would want to ask them, what did you mean by these words? What did the educrats intend? Joining me now is Patrick Wood. Patrick, wow, you blown away by this or what, Patrick? I called you this morning. I said, have you seen the robots? Have you seen the robot walking out the White House? What did you think when you first saw it?
Wow, that's amazing. Really, I wouldn't have expected that at this point in time. It seemed a little bit premature, but nevertheless, what a photo op opportunity for the robot maker. And probably this is going to just stimulate the market, you know, all over the place. I can see people wanting to get their hands on it. This is kind of a robot.
Yeah, well, my robot could have just brought me the coffee and the bag of ice that my wife just brought. I've been living with for the last month or two. So I think she's eager for the robot so she can stop having to wait on me. So she wants Logan to order one up as soon as it's available. I mean, really, seriously, though, independent program and teaching for each individual child, critical thinking, independent reasoning. Are you joining me in the red flags of these words and what those could mean, not necessarily to the lovely Mrs. Trump, but to the educrats that have used these terms for decades now that I've been defining based on their own writings?
Exactly. You know, she touched on all of the pleasant points, so to speak, selling the product. They'll never talk about the dark side of it that we talk about. One of the things that's really disturbing is that every interaction that a robot, especially one equipped with LLMs,
what is that? What does that stand for? What is that?
That's large language models, LLMs. These are the frontier models that are being put out by ChatGPT or OpenAI, Anthropic, etc. So every interaction with a person, student included, it harvests information on you, from you. You have no control over it. it'll build a psychographic profile on you, and it'll ended up knowing you better than you know yourself.
Isn't that what one of the guys said, that the program would end up knowing he was gay before he knew he was gay? Which one of them said that? Noah Harari. Wasn't it Noah Harari? Right? Logan, can you find that? I think Noah Harari said something about the computer will end up knowing you're gay before you know you're gay.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. This is crazy. Of course, this is predictive, predictive
programming
analysis.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
So
but the fact that she brought this out in 2026, I said last year several times that 2026 is going to be the year of the robot. You might remember that.
I do.
And it's here it is.
But even you are shocked that they rolled this out this morning.
I am. I really am. Yeah. For the president to do that, and his wife, I mean,
with the presidential seal in front of her, no less.
I know she was certainly doing it with the permission and the clapping of the president himself. But the fact that he's brought it out just now just tells you that the trajectory at this point is going to be hands off on the robots. Robots get a free pass from here on. Robots are going to be our friends. You might remember when you were younger, your parents or your teachers told you books are your best friend. I remember that. Books are your best friend. Get in a book. Read a book. Get involved with a book. Well, not anymore. The best friend is going to be a robot.
Man. And then you talk about the dark side. And can you imagine? I mean, that was a pretty benign looking robot, right? But when they start adding in the technology and they make them, look human, you think you got a problem with young guys today not getting married? There'll be no incentive for a lot of young men, hopefully the sane ones, the Christians, obviously, but for the average unsaved male, if they can start making these robots interact with them emotionally, and I won't even get into anything else, but you know where I'm talking. I mean, what will be the incentive for a young man to get married and have children and a family?
Same thing with the females as well. A female can have a personality mate, if you will, male, that listens to her, tells her what she wants to hear, says, I love you, all the things that the males struggle with in the first place, and the female psyche will be just as likely to fall in love with the robot as the males. But you're right, it's going to split apart the relationships that God ordained in the first place.
Logan, did you find it? Well, Noah Harari said that. I'm pretty sure he did say that. I'll keep looking. All right. What else do you have? What else are your thoughts about what's been going on? Let me grab a few headlines here. Here we go. India-Israel partnership holds key to value-based IMAC alternative to China's Belt and Road Initiative. And look at what the date is on that. That's today, March 25th. I don't know about you, Patrick, but every day I begin my day looking at news stories related to IMAC, Babylon. I'm on this like you. We're on this like white on rice. Here's a brand new article out today on that topic.
Yes, indeed.
And for those who maybe don't remember, that IMAC is this India, Middle East, Europe economic corridor. So this is what we've been talking about, but I wanted to mention that for anyone who's watching the segment outside of all the other shows.
It's interesting. I see articles now appearing kind of pouring water on our idea that IMAX is going to be completed. And, they say, well, it doesn't have money yet, et cetera. But you see now an article like this comes out. Well, take another flavor here.
So people are pouring cold water on our programming and articles and shows?
No, not us personally. I'm saying that on the idea that IMAC is going to be a thing. You know, you can see probably the Chinese want to do that. They want to convince everybody that IMAC's not going to harm them or take a shot at their Belt and Road Initiative. But this article clearly says something that the Iran war is doing something to block China's BRI, that's Belt and Road Initiative, and is creating strong foundations for IMAC. That's all you need to know at this point. Yes, it is. And when Trump is done with Iran, he's going to have access to the Strait of Hormuz, period.
Well, and then here's an article from World Israel News yesterday. Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates mold joining U.S.-Israel war in Iran. Well, we know that Saudi Arabia and UAE are all part of IMAC.
They are.
So, now, I don't know if you heard the latest, by the way, the ambassador to NATO, what's his name, Whitaker, has come out and said that about 30 plus nations have signed on to the idea with NATO of getting involved with securing the Strait of Hormuz. So I don't know what you think is going to happen. I just had on Hadia Miramani, and we were knocking around our thoughts about Gog Magog, Ezekiel 38:39. I don't see a regime change. I don't think President Trump wants a regime change.
No, I don't think
I got an article here from dated yesterday, March 24th, 2023. And this is from Jerusalem Post. Iran regime change likely to take a year, Mossad chief predicted. I think it's more likely that you're going to end up with someone like this guy right here. Look at this. Why Mohammed Ghalibaf could be a critical cog in Trump's Iran project. He was born in 1961, Shiite pilgrim, goes on to the fact he got married. Their wedding was officiated by Khomeini. He has 3 children. But look at him wearing a suit. And I think he's the former leader of the parliament. But Hadia and I were just talking a while ago about look at that. Reports named Iran's parliament speaker. I think he might be the speaker right now. This is who President Trump has been reportedly talking to, or somebody in the administration. Trump told CNN's Caitlin Collins, his partner is a very responsible, respected person. And other sources are saying it's him, that it's Bagher, Iran's parliament speaker. Now, Hadia was just saying she thinks they're going to keep killing down the totem pole till they get to somebody that's willing to put on a suit and do a rebranding and kind of do the Venezuela thing. We'll work with you. And then part of the deal is you get to stay in power, you get to stay alive, you get to run your country, but we're getting control of the Strait of Hormuz. And then at some point, I don't know how long, Iran and Russia and Turkey decide they're done with this and they move against Israel with a coalition, Ezekiel 38:39. That's what my article's about today at Worldview Times. Do you see this as a viable path? Because otherwise it's a war for a year. I don't think Trump's interested in that.
Not at all. Not at all. The only thing he wants to get is access to the strait, period. This was a whole the theory behind my article that talked about IMAC in the first place. He wants control of the Strait of Hormuz, and he'll do whatever it takes to get it. And if that means, like you said, killing down the leadership until they get somebody who's willing to look like a normal person and do normal things, at least as far as trade is concerned, then they'll do that. They'll say, okay, you can stay, but watch yourself, because you mess with us on this straight business, you're out of there. That'll be the message that person receives.
So The other alternative is the Crown Prince Pahlavi going in there. And we talked about that with Hadia. And she's saying if that's going to happen, he's going to have to take the dangerous stance of actually going in country, highly protected, but going in country and saying, I'm here, I'm ready to help you set up the government of your choice. I'll just be your interim leader until you choose who that leader will be. Now, if he were to do that, the question is, would it bring out enough people onto the streets and whatnot to have a regime change? I don't know. But that could be very dangerous, obviously, for him. But these are your only options.
Honestly, I don't think that it's about the people at all. I don't think they're going to have an election at this point. Trump will not require an election at all, because how tolerant has he been for with any other country in the Middle East, all the Gulf states? He doesn't care if they have elections or not. You know, he's fine with autocratic rulers because they get stuff done. There's no parliament, there's no political discussion on any aspect of the governance of the people. He doesn't care about that at all.
You know, it's very interesting the words you use, because in my study on Daniel 2 on Sunday night, I said, isn't it interesting that these leaders that are called kings? We know the kings of the earth, it says in Revelation 18, and 17 are in a relationship with Babylon. But then we have the actual kings that are defined as these 10 horns or 10 kings. Daniel, I think it's Daniel 7. We also know this is in Revelation 13, Revelation 17. So isn't it interesting that Daniel chooses to use this word kings, whereas today we might prefer prime ministers or presidents? And I always wondered, you know, over the years, why did he use the word kings? Well, maybe he just doesn't know the word prime minister or president. But it may be because, obviously, the Holy Spirit wanted him to use that word kings, because that's what we got. He was writing under, Daniel and John, both writing under the inspiration of the Holy Spirit, chose that word. And now it makes more sense, because these individual leaders are operating with an autonomy, not in the normal democratic structure of the people deciding. But notice it's a division. The 10 horns or 10 kings coming out of the two iron legs, the divisions of Rome, is now a revived Roman Empire with 10 divisions, but they're still called kings, but their authority is not like it was with Nebuchadnezzar in Daniel 2, who is described as the head of gold. You, O king, are the head of gold. He had all authority. Now, as you descend in value of the metals, you are also ascending in strength militarily, but the leaders themselves don't have the value of themselves independently. It's a collective, but they get to make decisions for their regions without the normal diplomatic processes. So it's not the same authority that Nebuchadnezzar had, but it's still not the same what we recognize with a prime minister or a president who is supposed to be empowered by the wishes and consent of the governed. These guys are making decisions on their own, and it's done for that region, these 10 regions, whatever those 10 regions of the world will be. And you're already seeing President Trump do this. So to me, it's another stage setting for getting the globe to accept a new kind of leader. Is that what you're saying? Are you in agreement with that?
Yeah, let me tell you, I said last year that this would be the year of the robots. Let's make a proclamation here that this decade will be the decade of the kings. Let's just say it. Let me just read you a definition that I just got out of the encyclopedia. A king is generally defined as a male monarch, a sovereign ruler of a state or territory within a monarchy, usually holding the office for life and often receiving it by hereditary succession through some kingship, although some kingships have been elective. Now, this is the definition of a monarch as well. This is exactly what Trump did when he took the helm at the Board of Peace. He said, "I'm the ruler here. I'm the king. I'm going to leave it to my heirs, and I'll point my successor, and you can't stop me." At that point, so this is the definition of all the leaders in the Gulf states. The king of Saudi Arabia, for instance, the king of the UAE, they're kings. This is a definition of a king. This is exactly what the encyclopedia says. So you can see, well, yes, it seems to me that Daniel used the right word. It's a king. A king is not like any other category in the world.
And I'm not aware of anyone else having this conversation but you and me, right? And the interesting thing is, I think you and I came to it independently of each other, right? I came to it when I was studying Daniel too. I'm like, why are they called kings? Well, look how these guys are operating. You've come to it in your study, and now here we are together talking about it. And the point I'm trying to make is there are so many things in the Bible that we read and reread and reread, and we just kind of gloss over it because it doesn't have any meaning to us. It didn't have any meaning to us a year ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. But now all of a sudden you're reading the passage and you're like, wait a minute. Now it has meaning. Kings was not just because he didn't know the word president or prime minister. He could have chosen the words ambassador, representatives.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Emissary, right? Counselor, advisor. I mean, these would have been words that would have been okay in the vocabulary of Daniel or in John for Daniel for Revelation. Daniel for the book of Daniel or John for the book of Revelation. Because they're writing in their own vocabulary. Well, obviously, Daniel working in the king's court would have known other words, but the Holy Spirit directed him to use that word kings. But that didn't have any context to us a few years ago. Now it does. And the point I'm trying to make is, folks, the word of God is coming more and more and more into focus. And as you study the Bible, never think to yourself, oh, I've studied that. I was thinking to myself 2 nights ago, you know what I need to do? I need to turn around and reteach the book of Revelation. Not so much maybe for you, but for me. I need to reteach it and reteach it and reteach it until I am so immersed in the book of Revelation. Same thing with the book of Daniel. So that it's right here with the recall. And as I do that, more and more things are going to become evident that I didn't see before. It made no sense to me. But now the things of this world are becoming more focused with what the scriptures told us. And isn't that a testament to the power of the word of God? It is, God writes history before it happens. And this is a perfect example. That makes me excited to look at what other areas have I read that had no real connotation or meaning to me. But those things will start to reveal themselves as these events unfold. Thoughts?
We have no history in America to understand what a king is, much less a monarchy. And monarchy and kingdoms are associated with each other. We see the term monarchy used in the Saudi Arabia, for instance. It's a monarchy. This is the definition of monarchy. This goes along with a king. A monarchy is a form of government in which a single individual, a monarch, such as a king or queen, serves as a head of state with authority, typically inherited through hereditary succession. That's important. It's one of the oldest political systems in the world, once dominant worldwide. So we can say, well, there's nothing new under the sun, right? So we don't see a lot of monarchies today or kings, but it's going to come back. That's the point. I think this would be a good time to declare this will be the decade that we see the kings return to planet Earth.
Wow. All right, let's see what else we got. We have so many things going on. They're moving so fast. I suppose you saw today America's ambassador to the NATO said that 30 plus nations have now signed on to secure the Strait of Hormuz. So I don't see I don't see a regime change in Iran. I think they're going to go down the totem pole and put someone else in there, and that could wrap this thing up pretty quick, right?
So why don't they say, well, we want regime change in Iran, or why don't they say, let's free the students in Iran, or let's help the people get rid of these tyrants in Iran?
Because that's not the goal.
That's not exactly. That's my point. Is everybody's talking about the strait. That's the only thing that matters in this war with Iran. Nothing else. This is why I hit on this concept with IMAC in the first place. It was all about trade, and if this trade route or the corridor gets destroyed because Iran won't play ball, that's going to cost somebody trillions and trillions of dollars eventually. They can't have that. That can't happen. They're not going to let it happen. And finally, Europe was on the back burner on this whole thing. They've kind of put a cold shoulder to the IMEC idea, even though they're all licking their chops to get access to it, right? So all of a sudden, this smoked them all out. And they're, we're all with you, President Trump. Go, baby. Get rid of that all those dictators over there that want to close the Strait of Hormuz. We all need it. We all know we need it. So let's get the job done.
And I wonder how much of this has been theater.
Coordinated
totally. Theater. They all knew what they were going to do, when they were going to do it, and they're rolling it out little at a time with their agreements. Now what I'm wondering is Donald Trump is good cop and Benjamin Netanyahu is bad cop, right? I think that's going on, because I don't know if you heard what Benjamin Netanyahu had to say today, but he's basically saying this war is going to go on. And I think Iran is scared of Israel to a degree, for sure. And I think, it's my opinion, I could be wrong, that President Trump is doing the art of the deal in some regards, and he's trying to be perceived as the negotiator and the deal maker, and that Benjamin Netanyahu out here is coming, Iran, to eliminate you and keep killing down the totem pole. But I can stop him. I can stop him if you will come to the table and negotiate. So President Trump is like, the war is over. We're ending this. War is over. We're ending this. And then it keeps going. And it's like Netanyahu's not stopping. But at some point you wonder, are these guys playing good cop, bad cop? So Trump can finally say, but if you will just come to the table, I can get him to stop. Because here's what Benjamin Netanyahu said today. All right, well, I don't speak Hebrew, but let me just tell you what he said. What he said was, it has been finally decided to do everything to fundamentally change the situation in Lebanon. And of course, that's Hezbollah, that's Iran. He said the campaign with Iran is still in full swing, contrary to what is being reported in the media. So he's not backing down. How much of this is good cop, bad cop, theater, stage setting to get Iran to negotiate, let this new leader, the Speaker of the Parliament, rise, wearing a suit? Hadia says a rebrand. Trump gets to declare a victory, but we've got control now, this group does, of the Strait of Hormuz. And they use that as leverage to keep Iran in line.
Yeah. You have to figure at this point, Trump has the last word. I'm sorry. And I'm not endorsing him. I'm just saying Trump will have the last word regardless of what Israel said. Mm-hmm. And so the strait will be in Western hands again, and never to be closed again, I hope, and on one sense. But once they have this in their hand, all the rhetoric from Israel will disappear. There's nowhere else for them to go at this point other than shut up and play ball. And remember, Trump is in charge of Gaza right now, totally, as a king. It's being established as a technocratic monarchy with him as king. now all of a sudden, Bibi has somebody else to contend with that's not elected. He's acting as a private citizen. He's not elected. He has charge over a major territory right next to Israel now. Basically, this is splitting the land, right? I don't like that either. But this is he has a new ally, or is it will it end up being a frenemy? Who knows at this point? But Bibi has to toe the line to President Trump, not the other way around. All these people are saying, oh, Trump is subject to the lobby in America, and he's led by the nose by Netanyahu and all this nonsense. I got news for you. Trump is emerging as the strong man. He fits the definition of a king and is being installed, or has installed himself in Gaza as king of Gaza. You can't make this up, Brandon. You just can't.
Oh, sure can't. I want to go back real quick to Noah Harari. I did look it up, and I guess he did make the point multiple times, drawing from his own personal experience, broader warnings about AI and data systems. Harari, who is openly gay, shared, and I think this is CBS News. Let me see if I can find it. Here it is. The power of data, artificial intelligence, and the future of the human race. And I think it was in this interview is where he said that AI will end up knowing more about you than you know. I don't know if this is where he actually, yeah. I came out as gay when I was 21 years old, he said. It should have been obvious to me when I was 15, but something in the mind blocked it. Now, if you think about a teenager today, Facebook can know that they are gay, or Amazon can know that they are gay long before they do, just based on analyzing patterns. I thought he had said that.
Yeah,
and that goes back to where we started with the conversation of these personalized robots that will know everything about you.
Yes. This is so disturbing because the young generation is going to be completely captured at some point by robotics equipped with AI. And the fact that there's a robot attached to the AI, this is a big step forward, because when you just look like at a tutor-based AI on your screen in your computer or your laptop or even a tablet or your phone, that's totally impersonal at this point. You can maybe see an image of somebody, but it's impersonal. With a robot that you can touch, you can interact with as a human, this adds another layer of trust. And for whatever reason, people trust the robot more than they will trust their screen. That means they'll tell anything that's on their mind to the robot, and the robot will dutifully harvest all that information, build a psychographic profile on the student, and then turn around and manipulate the student into another worldview, another position, another philosophy, ideology. You can just see the handwriting is on the wall for this, Brandon. Totally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Another thing I want to talk to you about real quick, and that is, like, what are they? Google glasses, guys? The Meta Ray-Ban, Meta smart glasses. I don't know. Have you seen the story? Can someone let the studio dog Dolly in before she scratches the door down, please? She's very persistent. Now, if I had a robot, I could ask Play-Doh, go over there and open the door for Dolly, will you? How soon can I get me one of those? I wonder what the price point will be, Logan. Come here, Dolly. You want to say hi to everybody tonight? You sure we're persistent about getting in? Are you afraid you might miss something interesting or what? Glad to have you here. You stink. You need a bath. These Meta Ray-Ban smart glasses, or people wearing the equivalent of police body cameras. I don't know if you saw the video footage. Maybe you can show it, Logan. TMZ probably has it. the video footage of, I guess, the guy that plays the part Reacher.
Yes.
Is it Jack Reacher, Logan?
Jack Reacher, yeah.
And this dude's big. I think he's like 6'3", and he's just like the Incredible Hulk. I didn't know he lived a few miles away, 3 hours away in Nashville, Tennessee, in Brentwood. I had no idea. But apparently he was riding his motorbike with his two sons in his neighborhood, and apparently a neighbor didn't like what he was doing and stepped out in front of him to stop him. And I think pushed him, if I remember from what the guys admitted. And Reacher wasn't having it, quote Reacher. I mean, like, how much of a dingling do you have to be to get in the face of a guy that's 6'3" and about as wide as he is tall, built like a truck? I mean, has anyone seen this guy? Why would you do that, number one? I'm like, number two, it's the guy playing Reacher, and he lives in your neighborhood, which can't be hurting property values because it obviously shows you live in a pretty nice neighborhood and it's attracting some high-end people. So you might thank the guy for living in your neighborhood because I'm sure it's probably helping your property values because it's setting your neighborhood up as kind of a nice place to live because he could probably live in a lot of places he chooses here. But instead of being the guy's friend, apparently you step off into the street and this confrontation goes down. Now, as I watched this video, and I've watched these reports over about 3 days, what impressed me was the fact that Reacher, quote Reacher, I don't know what his real name is, was wearing a body camera. Have you seen this, Patrick?
I didn't see it. No, I didn't see that aspect.
He's wearing a body camera.
Interesting.
And because he was filming everything, I think it exonerated him. And now the last report I read is there are going to be no charges. And he chose apparently not to press any charges against the neighbor, which was really nice of him.
Yeah.
But it showed me, wow. Now, as people come unhinged, I don't know how much you go out in public. I try to avoid it because people are crazy. Not this audience, of course, excluded. But people have gotten crazy since COVID. And Dr. McCullough and Dr. Thorpe and Nick Holscher, these guys have done peer-reviewed studies showing that some of these people have gotten these shots and multiple boosters. It's worked with their brain. They're not necessarily all there anymore, right? It's causing cognitive problems.
Yeah.
And I don't go out much because more and more people act unhinged. And there have been times I thought, wow, I wish I had a body camera on to catch how unhinged that person acted. Not too long ago, my wife and I came out of a play. We were seeing The Sound of Music. Came out of the theater, and there was a security guard sitting in a golf cart, and he had it was in February, and it was cold here, and he had a plastic covering on his golf cart so he could stay warm inside of it. And I was talking to him on the driver's side. He was on the driver's side. And because he had this plastic cover, I couldn't see that there was a woman on the other side of the golf cart who apparently was talking to him. Well, I couldn't see her. She's on the other side of the golf cart with this plastic thing. All I could see was him. And I said, hey, sir, do you know where? And I was going to ask him where this parking garage was, which side it was on. She all of a sudden steps around the back of the golf cart. And this woman might as well have been riding on a broom. I mean, WITCH, witch. I'm talking to him. And I'm like, gee, you are clearly a man-hater. What's your problem, babe? I didn't say anything. I should have, but I didn't. And I had the same experience earlier in the evening, the same night, same play. I came out of the bathroom and got in line to get a bottle of water. And I thought this woman was in line to the ladies' room, which was right there. And she turns around and says to me, I was here first. And I'm like, oh, I am so sorry. I thought you were in the line to the ladies' room. And she just came unglued on me. I'm like, who acts like this to people? Okay? I mean, first of all, normally if that happens to me, I let it go. It's not worth the confrontation. But twice in one night. And then I said something, my wife said something to my daughter. And my daughter said she had that same experience where she lives with a few people that came unglued at them. and I know it's a long story, but here's the point. As people become more enraged and crazy, I've said to myself, I'm not sure I really want to go out a lot without a body camera on or a pin in my shirt that's recording, because they make pins, by the way, that have cameras on them that are recording, because at some point somebody's going to do something dumb, particularly if they know who you are, and they entice you and they swing at you. And then you're going to be left trying to explain your side of the story. He said, she said. And it's kind of to the point where, like, you know, you might be better protected and served when you go out in this crazy world where people have taken too many psychotropics and crazy COVID shots and, you know, cuckoo or Cocoa Puffs, to be wearing a device. And if Reacher, did you have the video footage, Logan? If Reacher didn't have the video footage on, he might be looking at charges. I wonder how much of this is going to play into our society, but also be encouraged for AI. Your thoughts on that?
Well, I can see that, especially if a body camera sends a footage to your phone. That's normally the MO at this point. Your phone is the receiver, the catcher, if you will, for the first footage. And we all know that anything gets on your phone in the first place, it can be transmitted into the cloud. And probably at this point, it would be transmitted into the cloud. Do you want all of your body footage camera footage to be transmitted up to somebody in the cloud, AI especially? I probably don't think so.
See, now that's him. That's him wearing his own body camera.
Yeah,
but look at that guy. That guy come up to him. It looks like he shoved him.
Yeah.
So that saved him possibly from a charge. Because he's about to get off his bike. He's about to get off his bike and take care of business. But he wasn't the one that instigated it, according to that footage.
Yeah, the guy went nuts on him.
So you think we're headed to an era where AI and Ray-Ban glasses and Meta glasses and all this stuff become more and more part of the human life?
You know, you have to expect it. For instance, look at the Apple Watch. How many people do you see wearing an Apple Watch?
Yep.
It transmits all of your biometric data back to your phone, and then it gets uploaded in the cloud. You have no control over it at that point. And all these apps are saying, most of them are saying, well, we own this data. Once we have our hands on it, we can use it for other things, including marketing, or put it collecting on you, particular about your health and so on, and transmit it up to whoever, the Department of Health. So you can see the mindset is changing in society. Well, it's okay to just let the Apple Watch to take my data and transmit it. It'll be the same thing with these cameras at some point. Now, it's not totally smart to wear glasses that everybody knows that take a picture of them. Be discreet, at least. Put a pen in your pocket, like you said. That's the little spy camera, and nobody will understand what you're doing at that point. But you don't want to go with these glasses into like a biker bar or something and take a picture of them. They won't like that at all. It'd be beat to a pulp. But this is going to be the norm, I think, going forward. You and I will never do that, but a lot of people will be fine with it and think that this is the greatest thing that ever happened to them. And I don't think so. Now, you can have a little spy pen if you want one, or a body cam. You don't have to transmit it to your phone. You can just take it, put a chip in it, memory chip, take it out, put it on your computer, read it as a local file perhaps. Don't transmit it, but as soon as you do, it's going to be private property of somebody else at that point. You don't want to do that. Period.
Mm-hmm. Well, we are living in very interesting times, are we not?
Indeed, we are. Yeah. Okay. So we now know this is the year of the robots. This is the decade of the kings. And now, take your body camera off.
Yeah. If you come in my house, take off your body camera. How many people are going to be saying that, right? Or are you wearing a body camera? I mean, is that how most of our social meals and dinners will take place with friends? Any of you guys wearing a body camera?
How about when you go on a date with somebody? Oh,
you still go on dates, Patrick? Logan, did you know Patrick goes on dates? He just said,
no, not me.
Does your wife know you go on dates?
No. Think about somebody like Logan, for instance. Do you
Logan,
ask that question?
Does your girlfriend know you go on dates?
Well, you get the idea. That's the first question you shouldn't be asking. Do you have a body cam? Can you please turn it off?
Yes, that'll be you pick the young lady up at the door. If you're wearing a body camera, please leave it at home right now. Logan's laughing about that. But that's crazy.
It is.
By the way, how many of us in our lifetime, if we're honest, did indeed lose our temper with somebody at some point, snapped at them and thought later, boy, I'm sure glad that's not on camera. Because that would make, right? I mean, anybody that's been alive long enough as you and I have probably snapped at somebody at some point in public, and they may have deserved it. But later you think, oh, that really wasn't the best testimony or example.
No.
I sure am glad that's not on camera. Well, guess what? You better be worried now because it may be. You don't know who's wearing what anymore.
Yeah. Can make a big difference in your resume, for instance.
Let me ask you one final thing. Hadi and I were talking about BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China. And we were going through the nations that make up BRICS. Mm. We know that a lot of this is also about breaking up not only the Belt and Road Initiative, but we know it's got to also be a lot about breaking up BRICS. Mm-hmm. And when you look at the nations that are involved in BRICS, you see that some of them are the nations that Trump is now wooing into this IMAC and all this, right?
Yes.
So he's going to have to break away
India,
United Arab Emirates.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly. Yeah. Big time. Yep. I'll say this. BRICS is over. I thought this for a long time. I said it multiple times in recent history, but BRICS is over as far as I'm concerned. Now, it will still go on and have propaganda, whatever, pumped out. The communist countries like South Africa and Brazil, they'll be complaining all the way along the way. But at this point, BRICS doesn't have a chance with this new initiative.
And what is going to be the cryptocurrency that replaces it?
You mean the USD one?
Yes.
Did I say that?
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. Which is why I thought it was so funny. Pardon, go ahead.
Well, I just to say, all of this stuff that's been going on since Trump got in office. This wasn't just last month. He started out of the gate to rearrange the world. He said, we're going to get Mexico, we're going to get Greenland, we're going to get the Panama Canal back. We're going to have trade routes around the Arctic. We're going to have whatever. We're going to do this digital currency thing now, and he's done this all just in the last 14 months. Mm-hmm. It's been stunning, and
that's why I found it kind of funny today. Let me show you a quick video clip. When Matthew Whitaker, the U.S. ambassador to NATO, was talking about, well, we really have no interest in that region, really. We have no real interest in that region. President Trump's just securing the Strait of Hormuz for all our NATO partners and others. I'm like, dude, you're not watching the show, apparently. Because he kept saying, there's no benefit, really.
Non-committal to what they could bring to the fight or bring to help us. But they have done things that I think goes sometimes unnoticed. We had several allies here in Europe and in NATO that were providing key and crucial basing, overflight, and access that whether it's Suda Bay, where I was in Greece on the Isle of Crete, or whether it was, other countries, including Germany and France, that were providing our ability to prosecute this fight. So, there are key allies that are contributing, that are providing things. We just want more, and we need more, because even though President Trump has been very clear, Maria, that, we don't need this, it's good to act as a group of nations, because this is ultimately going to help everyone. And an Iran that does not have a nuclear weapon.
We don't need this, he said. We don't really need this. And he said earlier, this really isn't about us. Like, dude, you clearly have not been read in or not paying attention, or you're just not being forthright. I don't know which one, but I'm not buying what they're selling. Are you?
Not hardly. I've been watching Europe, especially backing away from Trump and everything he's doing in Iran. And I know just by looking at the little signs, these people are they're cheering Trump because they know Trump is going to deliver the goods to them in their own interest. And now they've come out, they say, well, okay, we're going to back you. We're going to send resources, whatever. We're going to help you win this battle and open up the Strait of Hormuz, period.
And it's so interesting because in the first term, all these leaders seem to hate him, right? And when he was out of office for the 4 years, they all seem to hate him. But all of a sudden, wow, we love Trump. We love Trump, right? I mean, it's fascinating. I showed this to Hadia and we'll wrap about BRICS. So look, Brazil, Russia, there's Russia, India. Okay, they're gonna be peeled away because they're part of IMAC. Their name's in it. China, South Africa, Saudi Arabia, and Egypt, they're part of it. United Arab Emirates, they're part of IMAC.
Big time.
So you're going to be losing. They're breaking up the BRICS coalition. There's far more going on here than the American people and the world realize. There is an economic war, a trade war, an energy war, a technology war. There are so many things going on here. The average person isn't connecting these dots. Look at this one. Who else do you have? Then you have Belarus, Bolivia, Cuba. I mean, all of a sudden, I don't know what's going to happen in Cuba. We get control of Cuba, they won't be doing BRICS. Malaysia, Nigeria, Thailand, Uganda, Uzbekistan, and then now Vietnam. But the big players are being taken out of there. India, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, UAE. Right?
That's right. Yeah.
Fascinating.
So, yeah, something is really going on, and we see these tectonic shifts in the global order. And we have to say this again. I think when the Trilateral Commission members stood up in 2023 and said, this is year one of the new international economic order, if we take him at his word, we can say, well, okay, so the old order that was used to be called the new world order, that's all. This is gone. The old order is gone at this point. What we have forming right now before our eyes is a new world order, and it's going to be radically different from the old one. And this is where people get mixed up. Well, there's the old, the new. It looks like the old is still with us, but people are trying to get their head around it. But it won't work. You have to look at the new world order with new glasses, new insight, and new tools.
100%.
Period.
100%. Technocracy.news, there it is. Technocracy.news. And Patrick, I sent you a blurb. I don't know if you got it yet, but I sent you a blurb for your new book. When's it coming out?
You.
What's the title?
It's coming out very soon. I'm hopefully going to deliver it to the printer by Friday of this week, hopefully. Mm-hmm. And the title will be, You Will Own Nothing, The New Economics of Technocracy.
You will own nothing. There you go. Let us know when it's out. We'll promote it so people can go buy it.
I will.
Logan, show the lineup real quick for this fall. Think we're going to have plenty to talk about this fall when we have our National Worldview Weekend, Patrick, this October?
I'm ready. I'm writing my speech 50 times over between now and then.
Logan, do we have a graphic on that? He's pulling it up. But it's Patrick Wood, myself, Andy Woods, Sharam Hadian, Alex Newman, Dr. Erwin Lutzer, Annie Cyrus. It's free. We're making it free for the first time in 22 years. We'll get our foundation to try to raise the funds and take a couple big offerings. Building alone will cost $10,000 for the 2 days to rent that very building you're seeing right there. That we filled up for one night in April. but this will be Friday night, all day Saturday. You can get your free tickets at worldviewtube.com/events. Is it event or events, plural? Events, plural. worldviewtube.com/events. I think we have a lower third for it. worldviewtube.com/events to get your ticket absolutely free. But you will have to have a ticket so we don't overfill the building, all right? Patrick Wood checking in tonight from technocracy.news with a new book coming out. Stand by, be ready. We'll tell you when you can order it. Thank you, Patrick, for all you do.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, you bet. All right, guys, we'll be right back.